Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. My name is Rabenschild. I'm in the asteroid base and I wanted to take a look at the crookedness of the asteroid base. And the thing is, I'm constantly looking at my monitor from different angles. I have the feeling it's crooked here too. I'm not sure what this is about. I also tested the graphics settings when it comes to for example, the field of view, but it doesn't change that. So I have the feeling that some lines are just crooked. In the comments, I read that other people also said that they have the feeling that something is up there. Other people said on my Discord, by the way, the link is in the description, that it might has to do with the jetpack, that the jetpack for some reason doesn't drop you in a right way. But here we also had the talk about if it's the planet's gravity that pulls you off to the side because the whole base might be slightly not aligned with gravity. But here it should be, everything should go straight to the ground because here there's artificial gravity. And I can't say if it's just a visual thing, because if you drop the crosshair over some lines, but you can't see it really. It's so weird that here, for example, it's definitely crooked. And I can't really say what this is. Maybe it's a bug. Maybe it is a bug with that they did something with the new, with the new animations, or I don't know how this whole animation thing works. Maybe it's a head positioning thing or something like that. That there's problems with that. I'm not sure. So I came up here to originally get some materials. The big ship is parked outside. By the way, thanks for all the people that took a look at it. I hope there will be more in the future. I died on the way up here because I had my helmet still open. There seems to be a death. Somewhere there's one of these death points. I have to get rid of that. I might spend a bit of time here to mine for materials and then fly back. I want to work more on the cathedral or the citadel. And then I want to finish the design for my turret, and I need to test more of my recording that I'm doing at the moment, because I'm recording with a different codec. I want to record a different game, and this game gives me a bit of a headache, and now I'm testing the new codec that I tried for this game here too, so that I might end up hopefully with a bit smoother recordings and not so much strain on the GPU and all that stuff. But with huger file sizes, that's the bigger problem. Good. I will continue to work here, and I don't know where we will meet us again. I'm working on the turret, and one thing I found is that 2 rotors on one turret don't work with the AI. It takes only one. Seems to be the closest one or so. I thought that would be a nicer thing to have a divider between them, and hoped that it would work. Doesn't. So we will have to get rid of this. And yeah, I have to connect this gun to this area and then find a way how to solve the design problem. I am going now with the normal rotors, although now with So the rotors give me a bit better control over how much spacing there is. The hinge basically doesn't give me the ability to clear out these spaces, so I might be able to put some blocks in there so it doesn't look so open. At the moment, the whole turret gives me a headache because it looks so open, and so yeah, I don't know. The normal turrets look a lot more look a lot nicer because they have basically they have this nice compact design. These ones, you can be individual, but some things don't work out. So let me get rid of this again, then grab the Gatling, and then I need a cargo container. I could put it in between. Only thing is that then I need a good way to get to the inventory of the whole thing. As you can see, the gun has only 2 inventory connections, and the cargo container itself also has only 2 connections. So I will have to use this side to get into the inventory of the whole thing, to fill it up. So what I can try now is if I can use, yes, I can. Okay, let me grab some blast door blocks. Then that should work, and then I can see if I can push it over so that it at least, no, not heavy, small, light blocks, please, so that I at least can hopefully enclose this side here too. Although I'm not sure if that will be possible with the rotor head. Let me get into that and let us see how far we can push it out. Rotor, it's rotor 2. And then we will push it. I'm waiting for the barrels to move, and I think that's all the way, so they don't move anymore. That's not good, because that might be, yeah, it's not possible to put something on the other side. That's not nice. That is not nice. Let me see if I can at least push some blocks. No, I can't even push some blocks under there. It seems to be the rotor that also prevents us from putting stuff there. And could we maybe just use... Nope, that doesn't work. So on this side we could use a full block and just put that in there. This side doesn't work. These, yeah, again, these turrets are a bit I committed to building it, but on the other hand, it doesn't work out the way I would like it to work. That's one of the things that I liked about Starmade, that basically blocks could scrape against each other. they have at least a bit the tendency to push through each other without damaging each other. Here that doesn't work. So I can't make it look nice, and I kind of want to have it at least look a bit nicer. And that doesn't work. Maybe we could build something like... I'm not sure. I will have to test out more designs. I'm thinking now about something like these rocket point defense turrets on aircraft carriers. Maybe something like that. I will have to work with this. I will have to work with this. Ah, okay, good. Again, I have to take a look a bit on my recording time. At the moment, I'm searching for better ways to record. I want to record, and let me just say it, I want to record 7 Days to Die. And 7 Days to Die is giving me a hard time when it comes to recording. For some reason, it disconnects the audio from the audio of my voice and the audio of the game. It disconnects from the rest because it has encoding problems. Let me explain it that way. Before I used an encoding, a codec, basically the same codec that YouTube uses to show you the stuff. So I used the X264, I think it's called, codec to record it. This is an already compressed codec. What I would get in the end is I would get the raw footage that I had was basically exactly what YouTube would show to you, because in the end YouTube eventually compresses it into this codec anyways. So I thought I can save up on space on my hard drive if I go and just record in the same codec. It worked out pretty fine for space engineers and for the other games that I played, and saved me hard drive space. The 4 minutes, the starting 4 minutes I recorded would be normally just a few hundred megabytes. It compresses all the stuff really hard. Now with the codec that I'm using now, it's a UT something codec. Don't ask me. It's a lossless codec, so it gives a lot higher. It gives a lot higher amounts of space you need for your recorded material. So the 4 minutes were 6 gigabytes, and we are recording now for 10, and you can think, you can do the math there that this uses up a lot more hard drive space than I would usually use up. Here, by the way, you can see the start of the hangar area. I want to have the hangar area at least 4 high, but I think I will go for 6 to have a bit of a higher ceiling, and put the floor on top of that. 3, 4, 5, 6. The hangar area will be a bit wider than the rest of the building, so it is basically on top of the whole thing, is a bit wider, and then the whole building goes from there on. It will be a bit thinner. I need the space so that I can maneuver in that hangar, and I want to have it at least 4 high, so eventually I can put some hangar doors in front of it. So this will be the height, and the thing that I can do now is go and upgrade the elevator and have the next floor on top, basically. Give me the next thing. Okay, so let me go down so the cabin is not up here, and then I will fly up. That looks weird. So I digressed again. Just wanted to explain that to you. The recording method I use now is a lossless codec. The lossless codec doesn't use resources from the computer, or not a lot of resources of the computer to elevator. I want to have this, and then I need the middle section. So it doesn't use a lot of the resources of the computer to compress the stuff. Again, the one I used before uses resources to compress the video so that it can... Okay, that's getting built. Hopefully the warning then vanishes. And 7 Days to Die, for some reason, uses a lot of the GPU, and the GPU is also used to compress and do stuff with the video. You can force the program I'm using is the X-Story to record. You can force it to use more CPU, but it still uses the GPU to do stuff there. And come on, you should work now. Now the elevator is broken. I will just place it again. So it's so hard to explain because I sometimes don't really get it myself, the whole recording stuff. It's just this weird thing that that I have a lot of resources with my computer. I have 32 gigs of RAM. I have a 980, an overclocked 980. I have the i7 8-core CPU, 16 threads, something, and all this stuff. But some of the early access games really can be hard on the computer and don't make it easy for you to have a smooth running system. Does the elevator work now? Is it coming up? It doesn't seem that way. Or? Oh! Yes! Nice. Good thing. And the thing with this is that I then get frustrated because I have all the power, can't use it, and the game itself doesn't run too good on the computer, and it should. It definitely should. It's again one of the things where an early access game doesn't use the power the computer has in in the right way, and so I'm getting pretty frustrated with it. Was trying to record it, had the first episode basically done, then realized that all the issues that the X story tells me, the X story says, okay, I have encoding problems, and I thought, okay, it might not be that bad, because sometimes I'm getting a CPU message or a GPU message in Space Engineers 2, and usually it's not that bad. But when it says I have encoding problems, you listen to. You should listen to the X story. The GPU seems to be just a problem then with frame rate, so that you have frame rate stutter. But when it comes to encoding, then problems with audio, for example, start. You get desynchronized audio, and then it doesn't. So it desynchronizes the audio by seconds sometimes, but it is not stable. So I couldn't say, okay, I just take the whole audio and move it on the timeline in editing later, and then have audio and video synchronized again. No, it does it randomly, not randomly, but sometimes it's 2 seconds, sometimes it's on point, sometimes it is 5 seconds. And then you would have to go through your whole timeline. You would have to go and correct everything with... By the way, there was an encoding problem. Let me... we'll be back in a second. So it would be hard work in post then to correct that, and it would be more work that I'm willing to put into that. So I want to put the work now into being able to record it pretty stable, and then have no problems in post. That's where I want to put the time in. It makes sense for Space Engineers 2, because Space Engineers now requires, or Space Engineers always required a whole lot of resources. Space Engineers behaved really, really well after the last updates, the last major ones, and it before ran pretty well. So there were not a lot of problems with encoding and all that stuff. But now with another game, that demands power that is there, but it doesn't use the power correct. Yeah, you run into, or I run into problems there. And that's not nice, because I definitely want to give you 7 Days to Die. Again, I'm having a lot of fun with playing it at the moment, and so I would like to be able to show that to you. And I can't with the game blocking me basically from recording it. And it's not like I'm trying to go crazy while recording. So I'm not recording 60 frames a second or something like that. That's not possible. I have relatively stable 60 frames in Space Engineers. That's neat, but I'm going easy on myself there, and I'm not trying to do that here. And with 7 Days to Die, it wouldn't be possible. I have, at the moment, the settings are set so low that I sometimes don't like to look at it, because another problem that I have with it is that my video card runs pretty silent. You can hear it now, but 7 Days to Die for some reason ramps up the temperatures there. So if I put it above a certain amount of settings, my video card starts to spin up the cooling and the fans, and then it doesn't run silent anymore. And that's bad. It should, but it doesn't. Again, it is another example of uh, of uh, of an early access game that is not really optimized. And the new codec doesn't stress a lot while recording. That's good, but again, then it gives me a lot bigger file sizes and might make problems in post then. Or not problems in post, but post will take longer. Before I had render times, I'm using at the moment PowerDirect of 14. That's a relatively inexpensive recording software that is pretty fast. It doesn't have all the integrations like Premiere Pro would have or something like that. And you can't do a lot of crazy graphics works and all that, but works pretty good. And before, with the new computer, I had, because in the end you render out in the same, I would render out in the same codec that I would record in. So there's no codec change. So the editing software could just go and say, okay, I can just take these the data and can just transfer it, make an end product out of it, and then I would have half hour. I would have an half hour video rendered in 5 minutes, for example. The biggest culprit of making huge crazy stuff is my intro, for example. My intro, the 10-second intro I have in the start, is a nearly 2 gigabyte file because I pulled it out of After Effects, and at the point where I was not really sure what I'm doing there, and so it's a pretty big file, and I will not touch it anymore. Although it ruins my render times to 5 minutes, and again that could happen now again too. That my render times go up. Could lose rendering time there because of the bigger file sizes the raw data has now. And it can't be that much. If then a half-hour video takes 20 minutes to render, that's not a problem. The time issues I always have lie in my internet connection, so the problem is not in rendering and not in editing or something like that. Editing works pretty well. The file needs a bit longer to be loaded into the RAM while editing, but that's not a big issue. Yeah, I have to see how that works out. I will test it with the Space Engineers video if I have to change back to the old ways of recording. Again, that wouldn't be a problem. It's in the extra, it's basically just one click. I say, okay, go back to this profile. Then it would record Space Engineers with the old settings. That works out. And I would use the new settings for 7 Days to Die. I tested it in there too. And with the new codec, I at least don't get any desyncs, audio desyncs. I know there are other things you have to take a look at while you're recording audio. I know all of this. It definitely is a problem with the codec. So, yeah, and I'm hopeful that I can give you 7 Days to Die in the future. I wanted to give it to you in the last week, but that didn't work out. I told the people on my Discord that I'm pretty angry about it. Works out now, hopefully. Problem is, again, the graphic settings are pretty low, and we will have to deal with that. I can't do anything about that. It starts again that I have to worry about hardware. I shouldn't have to worry about hardware. Every other game runs fine. Now Space Engineers runs fine. So if 7 Days to Die makes more problems than it should, I will have to see how good I'm running with that. It's hard to go and say I want to record a series that affords more than it in the end gives us back, basically. So, okay, I would like to go, okay, the bottom. That's so nice. I really, really like this. Okay, people, I rambled on for enough. We have built walls now. Again, I can keep on working with the top there. I want to have... It will be a bit boxy on the top. And I want to... Let me... I was just up here. So I want to go to somewhere a bit farther to the front here. So maybe to here. And then make a straight wall that is here, and then the gate to fly into the whole hangar will be at least, I think, somewhere as wide as here. So this whole area will be the gate. This will stay open so that you have a lip. You could walk out here and take a look at everything. Now the sun goes down. I have to deal with this. We can't use this at the moment because the rotor strength and the script of this collide a bit, because this script automatically sets rotor strengths to maximum and then it shakes itself apart. That's not nice. Because the rotor strength is up, so I can work with this thing. It's a whole lot of things we have to coordinate. I might ask if 1WSX10 can help me figure out if we can not make Izzy's solar script basically set the rotor strength to maximum or something like that. We will see. Good people, thanks for listening to me, I would say, because there was not a lot to watch, but I had a lot to talk, and I hope you liked the episode anyways. You now heard a lot of how I record, what programs I use, what codecs I use. And the codec, by the way, UT Video it is called. Maybe some of you want to take a look at that. And yeah, I'm still working on this all here. It is a crazy amount of work, and I have to go back into space, finish the other vector thrust crafts, and so it will be more work in the future, and the work doesn't end. I will do some. These will get higher, and then we'll supports basically for the building. I have to figure out something for the sides. I want to have something on the sides here, so like clock towers on the side or something like that. We will have to see. And the turret still angers me. We will figure that out. Good people, I would say thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. If you did, then please leave a like on it. And I hope to see you in the next video. See ya, guys.